11 countries in 11 months. They live out of backpacks, and they go into a country in a small group, or they go in a larger group of like 60, and then they go and they come alongside existing ministries, and that can be anything from working with street people to orphanages to
whatever,
people out sharing their faith, all kinds of, depends on different countries, different places. But he just spent time. She just left Nicaragua, where this man is working with women who God called him. He had been involved in the mafia, the drug cartel.
Okay.
God saved him. He's gotten involved. God just spoke to him about being involved with rescuing women from prostitution, especially young girls.
Wow.
And it's done amazing things, so much amazing things, and because he disciples them when they come out, his recidivism rate, his rate of people going back into prostitution is like 1 or 2%.
Because he's going to the core of the problem.
In other organizations, it's like 60% are going back. Okay, so he's got international news. People, as a matter of fact, I'm not going to say on television who it was, but a very well-known celebrity in the United States came to him.
Alan Williams?
I'm not going to say who it was, but they offered, to give, because this person's a philanthropist, offered to give him $500,000 to help in his efforts, but he had to take Jesus out of his names, and because that person didn't want to be isolated into that. They didn't mind the spiritual thing. Guys, I can't do that. That's why it works.
Yep.
You're talking about why this works, and we're telling you why it works. So the person turned around, what about $1 million? I mean, the guy's got to think, here's $1 million, and in that country, what he could do, and he's got to go into 3 countries now, or maybe more, but it's like what he could do with that $1 million for Jesus.
That's Satan at work.
He says, can't do it. He turned it all down. He turned it all down.
That's just a temptation of the enemy to lower his standards.
He will do anything to corrupt.
So it's a I don't know when I got onto that story, but people trusting Jesus, going out on a limb, doing sometimes dangerous
that
things
vulnerability, we were talking about that.
Yes.
And I sense in a pastor, we go to Eastern Hills Baptist Church, and what I like about Ken is Pastor Ken is a vulnerable, transparent person, and I'm willing to follow a man who admits transparency. So in this case, he's being transparent, saying, no, I am not going to accept this money to please you. Mm-hmm. I have such a transparency with God, I'm not going to hide that this is where my hope comes from. Mm-hmm. That takes, actually, men who are vulnerable and who are willing to be transparent, I trust. I want to follow them.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because I have an acquaintance who is a local judge, and he's been on the bench for years, and he has told me that there are all kinds of programs out